after last night's Men at Work show, more than one person in various parts of the boat came up to me and said that show last night was the best show on the boat. And I got to say, I agree. It's these guys, as you know, Men at Work have appeared before. They were here in 2017. I vaguely remember that. Was anybody here? All right. Well, we're going to talk. The band that you saw last night, they were here, and I just think they've gotten better since then, if that's even possible. Colin Hay, who is, of course, the lead vocalist and main writer with Men at Work, is who we're going to be talking to. But Men at Work was really only sort of a couple of brief moments in Colin's career, and he has put out so many solo albums. He's gone in different directions. He's tried new styles. One of the things that I love about the man is that he continues to write music. He continues to think in terms of music. He continues to, I believe, we'll talk about this, process the world through his songs. That's my sense of things, and we'll talk about that. And I love the kind of storyteller he is, and I love the fact that he's just a tad off. Please welcome Colin Hay. Colin Hay.
George Burns, for those of you who are quite old, would know who George Burns is, but he said, always take your fucking money on the stage with you.
Is that why you come with... It's absolutely true. He said, never leave your wallet in the dressing room. There you go.
By the way, just so you know, you're on my bad side. No, I don't mean bad side. I just mean I can't fucking see him. Because I've got about 6% sight in this eye. So, and it's also a wandering eye, so don't get put off if I'm looking over there.
It's one of those little things we have come to love about you, Colin Hay. It's sort of, we saw it in the videos, it's all good.
You know, when I went for my car license to get my license to drive a car, you know, it was in Australia, and the policeman said, I said, look, I got something wrong with one eye. He goes, oh, don't worry about it, mate, just try and do the best you can. And he said, just tell me what these colours are. And he held up the different colours. He said, just cover one eye. So I covered my bad eye. And I said, that's red. Yeah, that's yellow, that's red, that's green. He goes, yeah. He goes, all right, cover the other eye. So I just went, that's red, and that's green. And he never noticed. But then I went for my license and I went through a fucking red light. So I failed anyway.
I'm going to start with songs. I've asked a lot of the people that I've spoken with this year and for the last year or two to pick out a couple of songs that are that have special meaning for them in terms of it being connected to an important moment in life. I mean, those songs for each of us, when a song connects to a moment in your life, suddenly it takes on all kinds of new meaning, new importance. I call them ooh yes. Because you go, oh yeah, that's the song. So one of the songs that Colin picked are one of my ooh yes of all time. A song that Bonnie Raitt covered first and had a huge success with it. And it is just one of the most heartbreaking songs, called I Can't Make You Love Me. And do you know that song? I'm not sure. I hope that my sound guy has some. Do we have some to play or no? Yeah? There we go. That right. right there. I'll feel the power, but you won't. Oh my gosh, why that song?
Oh, well, I was living in California in 1980, I think it was 1988 or 89. And I was getting divorced from my first wife, and I was trying to figure out what to do. I was also having a lot of trouble with the drink. And so I was deciding to come and live in California and start a new life, basically. So that's what I did. And that song was, sometimes you just really enjoy crying. So I enjoyed crying for a little while, and I was very sad, and then all of a sudden I woke up one day and I thought, fuck, I feel pretty good.
Was there someone?
Not at that time.
Not at that time?
No, I wanted to be a playboy.
Ah.
Yeah. I failed miserably.
Do you think, as a songwriter,
Playboy.
I don't think it's all that funny calling a playboy. He's a pretty sharp dude.
It is funny. It is funny.
Do you think, it seems to me that sad songs are more powerful than happy songs. I think that sad is a more powerful emotion than happy.
What is that? What is that? You just kind of, I think my natural state is melancholia with occasional bouts of hopefulness. So, I think it's true. I mean, I don't know what that is, but it's just, well, I can't turn it up because I don't have a fucking volume on it. So tell somebody else.
Turn up Colin's mic.
Or turn up your fucking hearing aid. And as Ringo would say, I mean that with peace and love.
So, I have to say that my sense is you don't write sort of traditional love songs or breakup songs or those kind, which are sort of common fare certainly in music and let alone in pop. Why don't you feel the necessity to go to those sort of obvious places?
I thought that I did write love songs.
Well, you do, but not breakup songs even more. That's the thing. Those sad ones are the most powerful.
I wrote a song here. Look, I'll just get right on this mic. Then you won't have to berate me. I'm trying to write. I'm trying to remember any song that I've written. Tricky sometimes. But I wrote a song called I Just Don't Think I'll Ever Get Over You, which I guess it's not really a traditional, it's not based on anyone in particular, but it's just based on that thing you've always had in your life. I think a lot of people have in their life where they have somebody that they let go of, or they died, or they left you, or whatever the reason was. But there's just somebody that you never quite get over, or you think about from time to time. So that's kind of what that's about. But I never really think, oh, I'm going to write a song about this, or I'm going to write a song about that. I just have breakfast, and then I think, fuck, now what? I better do something with the day, you know. So I just sit down with the guitar and start messing around, and whatever comes out, I kind of follow those ideas, you know. Then ideas start to flow, like, or you trick yourself. You think, okay, it's done. I've got nothing left. I've got no songs in me whatsoever. And then little ideas pop in your head, and they go, hey, what about me? What about me? And you go, oh, go away. I'm not interested in you and ideas anymore. I just want to live out my life and take the dog, throw the ball for the dog, and make a bit of food, you know. And I'm not interested in writing songs anymore. And then after a while, they keep badgering you, and eventually you have to go, okay, all right, what is it? What? And then you follow the idea to where they lead, you know. But it's.
Is it?
I don't know, I started doing it when I was 14. I don't really understand it. I have no real understanding of how to write songs, or, you know. But it's just it's afforded. It's given me a living for one thing, you know. Like, I think about this every day. I think about the fact that Down Under, for example, took 40 minutes to write, and it sustained me for the last 40 years. You know, and the great thing about having a song that does really well is that it pays for all the other songs that don't do quite so well, but enables you to write them anyway. You know, so you know, someone come up to me a while ago and said, Mr. Hay, would you recommend writing songs for a vocation? And I said, well, Down Under took 40 minutes to write, so fuck yes. Highly recommend it. What was your question?
I don't know, I forget. Do you write
the thing about both he and I, we've got no short-term memory. The great thing about him and me is we've got no short-term memory.
It is so funny because I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other night who said, you know, when you get old, it's the first thing that you lose is your memory. And I said, no. The first thing that you lose is your memory. Do you write because you have to?
No, I don't have to write, no.
You don't,
I don't think so.
So these things badgering you in your head, that's...
I don't know whether I have to. Look, it's just great. Like at the moment, like I'm on this ship for a week, right? I haven't written a song. I haven't even thought about writing a song, but I'm thinking about it now because I'm going home tomorrow, and I can go downstairs to the studio and mess around with all my toys, you know. And it's just the best. It's the best fun that you can have. So that's just what I do. I go downstairs and I try and avoid the workforce.
Stay away from that hourly.
And that's what you did as well.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I thought that maybe I could not have to go to a job, you know, that I don't like. I mean, I've done a lot of jobs. You know, I drove trucks and emptied the garbage. I was a garbage guy, you know. I did a whole lot of things, and I wasn't very good at any of them, but I did them. You know, I had a job once for 3 months in an office. They gave me an office. It was a frozen foods company called Watty Pit, and and they gave me this room, and I never knew what I had to do. I used to go there every day for 3 months and just sit there and go, fuck, I wonder what I'm supposed to do here. Nobody told me. People would walk past and they would just look and I go, hey, all right. It's weird. And I thought, no, I don't like this, you know. And then there was a guy, the definition of optimism, he was a salesman. He was out selling all the frozen peas and stuff to places. And he would call in every day to see if there was any messages for him. He'd go, car 24 to call, come in, call. And I'd go, hey, Colin to car 24. And he'd go, any messages, mate? And I go, no messages. And I was there for 3 months, and there wasn't one fucking message for this guy. But every day would call in just the same. That's an optimistic guy right there.
I had a conversation years ago with Phil Collins, who that song that you chose, I Can't Make You Love Me, that was a song that he said, I wish I would have written that. And he,
yeah, there's so many songs like that. My God.
I was going to say, and two questions. One, is there a song that you wish that you had written? And two, what his sense of writing was that, you're just lucky enough that it comes through you. Yeah. Is that how you feel?
Well, that happens. Yeah, that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's incredible when it does happen. And yeah, I wish I'd written that song. That's a monster. There's a Delamitri song called "Swimming with My Boots On." That's a song.
Oh right, people know Delamitri. Yeah. Nice.
What a song that is, And then there was a song I wish I'd written called what was it called again?
She Loves You.
Yeah, She Loves You. Well, yeah, I like that. Actually, we played in Ringo's band. We played "Who Can It Be Now" one night, and after we finished playing that, he goes, "Hey," and I go, and he goes, "I wish I'd written that one."
Ringo is going out.
He was in the Beatles.
He was in the Beatles. Well, I'll pause on that. You're, I would imagine, a massive Beatles fan.
Oh, yeah, we had a music shop in Scotland between the years of 1958 and 1967, so I was surrounded by music, just a little, mom and pop store, and it was beautiful. It's a beautiful place to grow up. But then we went to Australia. One day my father came home and said, "Right, we're off to Australia." I said, "Is that a long way, Daddy?" He said, "Oh, yes. That's about as far as you can go before you have to start coming back." So, surrounded by music. And so the Beatles, for me, when I was growing up, there was the Beatles and then there was everybody else, yeah.
So, do you feel like the songs are out there? It's just up to
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a song I wrote a while ago, and it's called Maggie. And there you go. It's funny, isn't it, when you start to clap and nobody joins in, you've got a decision to make. How long do you keep the clap going before you go? Anyway, I wrote a song called Maggie, and and I was sitting around on a Sunday, and I thought to myself, the Lord would have it that you don't have to do anything on a Sunday, but I was feeling a certain amount of guilt because I hadn't written a song for a while, so I thought, I'll have a crack at writing a song. And then this song just kind of, it just, came out, and I just wrote it down, wrote the whole thing, and then put some chords to it and stuff, and there it was, an hour later. And I changed nothing. And it's about this girl that I met when I was still in Scotland. And her name wasn't Maggie, but Maggie rhymed for the song was better. But her name is Valerie. And I fell in love with her, and she was about... I don't know, 8.5. We were about 9 years old or something, 8 or 9, and she could beat me up. And I fucking loved it, She would wrestle me to the ground, and she would pin my hands down, sit astride me and pin my hands down. And then she'd look at me, and then she'd lean down and give me a kiss. Well, that was fantastic. Something I still quite enjoy. Right, baby?
referring to Cecilia, who, if you don't know, is Colin's wife, who we saw last night on percussion and backing vocals. Let's talk about your band. You also said something to me last night before I walked on stage, which I was laughing about. You sort of dared me, I think, to go out there and say,
here's an Australian band with no Australians in it. It's full of Peruvians and Guatemalans and Peruvians and Cubans. And when we were in Australia, years when I was first went down to Australia with this band to play down there, I introduced the band. I said, "Oh, this is Josmel Montejo. He's from Cuba, and San Miguel Perez. He's from Cuba. And Jimmy Brandy. He's from Cuba. You know, Cuba. They're Cuban. They're from Cuba. They're Cuban. They're from Cuba. You know, a few times. You know." And at the end of the show, this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Mate, fucking that band, it sounded bloody enormous, mate. Fucking unreal. Jay, where'd you get those Hawaiians from?" My people.
In talking with your wife about the band, she told me one story about how it is that you have this current band, which goes out as with you as Men at Work, but also as you as Colin Hay, this solo touring band.
I'm the laziest front man in the world. I don't really know that many musicians, to be honest with you, but Cecilia does. So just to give you a bit of background, I met Cecilia very briefly in 1985 in New York in a recording studio, and then we didn't see each other until 1993. And I was opening up for her band. She had like a legendary band in LA called Cecilia Noel and the Wild Clams. It was an incredible band. And I used to take people to see her play every Monday night at the Baked Potato in LA. And she had like all the A players in LA with her. It was a 16 or 17 piece. She called it Sal Soul, a mixture of Latin soul and funk. It was unbelievable. So I knew her, but we weren't really... You know, we weren't going out or anything. She was married to some other guy, and I was a playboy. Had a cravats and everything, you know. Go there. So anyway, so I knew Cecilia for years, and then we started going out together in about 98, so the end of 98. And she knew all these musicians, and a few years, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, she went to Havana to make this salsa version of 80s rock songs called Havana Rocks. Really great record. And Sammy, who plays guitar, he was playing the tres. He was on the sessions, and so she went back to Havana, tried to find him again to do some more work, and he's defected to America and was living in Tampa. So she called him up, and he came from Tampa to LA, started playing with her, and then he told Josmel, the bass player, who was in Albuquerque, and he came to LA. So they were hanging around the house a lot. So I just said, "Come and play in my band." So I basically my philosophy about putting bands together is that I just basically steal Cecilia's musicians.
That's exactly what she said. He stole my band.
Then I said, "Well, you can be in it too." Oh, okay then.
So we don't call them an Australian band anymore. In terms of this band that you have now, you've been playing with them, as I said, for quite a while. When you do you think back to Men at Work? Are there things and people that you?
Oh,
I know Greg is.
I miss. Yeah. It was. Look, my old band was kind of. It was both brilliant. It was a brilliant time for me. First of all, if you have a band, it's magic, because if you're coming up with songs like I kind of hit some kind of little, you're at the coal face, I hit a little bit of vein of gold, I thought. I was kind of like, I was just on this path, and I was writing all these tunes, and I thought these are quite good. I was writing like songs like "It's a Mistake" and all these other tunes, and they were coming thick and fast. And I immediately had a band to play them. So I would take the song to the band on a Tuesday and show it to them, and then you'd do a gig that night, and you'd be playing the song that night. So it was just fantastic. And when I met Ron Streichert, who was the other guitar player in the band, he was so brilliant, and he was a really inspiring guy to work with, to play with. We never wrote that many songs together, but he opened up this creative door for me. So that's how I got to write all those songs, was because I was working with him. He was a very, very inspiring guy to work with. And then Jerry joined us, so all of a sudden it was a three-piece. And then Greg, I'd known for ages, because Greg was like just a great performer and one of the funniest men in the world. And we grew up together, really. And so I think about him all the time. I thought about him last night when I was playing. I always think about him when I'm playing, because I miss him terribly, but that's not the way it was supposed to be. He checked out way too early. So when we were flying high, it was a kind of a sad band, just to give you a brief story. I don't want to make it, boring and tedious if it's not already. But, a couple of the guys in the band wanted to sack the manager, and the manager was my friend. So his name was Russell, and, we went to university together, and he said to me, if you ever get a band together, Col, I'll hustle for you. And that was the extent of our relationship. It was just, we never had anything written down. It was just that he was the manager, and he was my friend. So, but they wanted to sack him, and I wasn't going to fucking sack my friend, So when we're at the height of our fame, it was just kind of crumbling, it was starting to implode even then. So at the height of our fame and commercial success, it was a very kind of sad thing as well, interspersed with like little moments that I'll never forget, like playing at the Grammys in 1982. First of all, our dressing room, Men at Work, next to Miles Davis, next to Lena Horne, next to Ella Fitzgerald, next to Miles, all these people, and we were just like, I was just blown away, and I was standing at the side of the stage watching Ray Charles and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis playing a trio together. And they played the song and they finished the song, and Little Richard ran off the stage and he ran straight up to me and said, "How was I?" And I just said, oh, you were great. He goes, no, I was great, but could you feel me? Could you feel me? And I didn't know what to say to Richard. It was just too much. I felt very white. And he walked off. He said, "Nice coat." And then Jerry Lee Lewis was walking along, and we were smoking weed, in our dressing room, And Jerry Lee Lewis was walking along with his hand on his manager's shoulder, and his manager had silver hair. And he's walking along going, "How was I?" And his manager goes, "You was beautiful, Jerry Lee, you was beautiful." "How was I?" "You was beautiful, Jerry Lee, you was beautiful." "How was I?" "You was beautiful." And he gets to our dressing room, and he stopped, and he looked in, and he goes, "You guys is evil." And I thought, fuck, that's the pot calling the kettle black right there.
Are there things about being? I mean, obviously you have a band, but you're kind of the boss, And
yeah, I'm the employer.
Yeah.
I'm what I never wanted to have.
Are there things about the band dynamic, that sort of group effort, that you miss? Do you prefer being solo or?
Well, I was started off when I was 14, just being like playing solo guitar. I used to go to these folk clubs in Melbourne, and this was about me and Graham Russell from Air Supply.
On the boat last year.
We grew up in Australia together. He was a hippie as well, and we used to play all these folk clubs, not together, but we the same ones. And so from when I was about 14 or 15, I knew him, and he was writing songs even back then. So, but I used to go to these folk clubs, and then it was quite an exotic thing, to go into a club, and people were playing Martin guitars, and they were playing fingerstyle, and they were playing quite deep cuts into folk music, and I was really enthralled by that. So I started to do that, but I was more influenced by pop, what I would call pop music, obvious things like the Beatles and the Kinks and the Rolling Stones and the Who, and all those bands were and then my brother turned me on to like Booker T and Otis Redding and all those people, and I was like, when I heard Green Onions, I just thought, wow, that's mysterious and magic, So anyway, what were you saying? Did I get off whatever track you were on?
Band dynamic.
Oh, the band dynamic. Well, I was always on my own. So the band was a big punctuation mark in my life, because I was playing acoustic guitar with Ron, and we attracted an audience, but we weren't going to get a record deal or anything like that. So we put this band together, and all of a sudden it just goes bang. Well, not all of a sudden. It took a couple of years, but still not that long. And became very, very famous, and then it went away. The rhythm section got sacked, is what happened. 4 of us sacked 2, which was a big mistake in retrospect. I wish we had a psychologist traveling on tour, because all the problems you probably know yourself if you're in a relationship, it's much the same thing. Most of the problems you have are really not that important. But you think they are, and your ego gets involved, and you think that you think you're a star, and that it's really important, but it's not really important at all. You're not fucking curing cancer, you're not doing anything like that. You're singing tunes, So, but when the band broke up, I was very happy. I have to say, when the band was over, I just wanted to be on my own, because I like being on my own, But then, so I've toured for 30 odd years on my own, and the thing that I have to always tell people is that I got dropped by MCA Records in 1991, so I thought, what am I going to do? So I decided to go on the road, and nobody came. Like, nobody knew who I was. So I'd be playing to like 40 people, 20 people, 40 people, 50 people. And it was like that. I did that for like 13 years, like I was just playing, and then more people would come. So I have a great love and affection, and got great nourishment from all those live audiences, because they knew what I was going through. They knew that, because they go through stuff as well in their own way. And I was going through this feeling of, well, should I really be doing this? There's nobody here, and, I was a big deal once, all that bullshit that you go through, But I just had to play to that audience that I had that night, and not think about the audiences that I'd had or the audiences that I wanted. And then I would play, and I would meet people afterwards, and I would find that to be a deeply, deeply enriching and nourishing experience, because we're all in this together. This thing called life.
I was going to say, you mean we're all like in the same boat?
That's the best one you've had today. That is good. You see?
The other song that you picked.
I didn't even answer your question.
No, you didn't. I was just going to move on.
Talking,
cool.
But with this band in particular, like, I employ them, and I pretend to myself that I'm the boss, and I, pay people and everything, do all that stuff. But when they play the songs, everyone brings what they have, you know, and what they have is, you know, ever-changing, and they're highly skilled. And if they didn't want to do it, they wouldn't do it, you know. So they must want to keep doing it. And now it's like a familial thing where, you know, it is like a family, which is really, you can have a band full of incredible musicians, and sometimes they're assholes and they just don't travel well, you know. But it's really important to have people you love to play with, but you also have to enjoy traveling with them as well, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. So you picked, the other song that you picked was a Beatles song.
Yeah.
You picked From Me to You.
Yes.
I'm guessing everybody knows that song, right? Just send it along.
I was at Skechers the other day, and I bought a pair of Skechers. That's why I was there. And I said, you know, and after I'd bought them, there was two sales assistants behind the counter. And I said to them, you know, I sometimes go out and play in Ringo's band, and Ringo often gives us a pair of Skechers at the end of the tour. And they both looked at me, and I said, Ringo. And they go, the Beatles. And I thought, these are different times.
Gen Z.
So, but my father, who was a very handsome, charming man, and was a great singer and a great dancer. He used to tune pianos. He was, you know, he sang on stage when he was young, and then he became a piano tuner after the war and all that horror was finished. He tuned pianos, you know, and he would come home, and my mother used to look after the shop, you know. And I was working in the shop when I was 9 or 10 years old. I would work in the shop to help her out. But anyway, after the shop was closed at night, my father would come in, and he had his suit and tie on still, you know, from working during the day. And he had a little record player, and he wanted to know what he was selling, you know, because he wanted to know what songs were happening. So he would be a DJ, and he would come on. He would say to me, "Come here, come here, come here, come on." So he'd take me into the shop, and it was all dark, and you could just smell the French polish of the pianos, and he would put on different songs, different records, you know. And one night he put on From Me to You, and we listened to that together, and he said, have a listen to these guys. He goes, I think they'll do quite well. So I always remember that song, because I have this picture of my father, large as life, you know. He's long gone now, you know, but he was. It's an amazing thing, you know, having parents. I mean, not everyone has great experiences with their parents, you know. Some do, some don't. But I'm so lucky that I grew up just with parents who were quite strict in many ways. Scottish families often quite often are, but they gave me a great sense of self and security growing up, you know, and it stays with you your whole life. So that's how I bring back my father. I think about From Me to You.
Well, it's true what you say about not everyone has a great experience with parents,
Yeah.
with their parents.
Yeah.
And your demeanor, you know, you really seem, you sort of hinted at, well, I'm sort of semi-melancholy, or you just seem to me to be a really positive person who just doesn't worry about shit.
Oh, I do worry about stuff, yeah. I do worry, but not that much.
But,
you know, I worry for a while, and then I go, oh, fuck.
And is that from because your parents, do you think they instilled a confidence in you that allowed you to, you know, not be terrified of the future, or where does that come from?
I know. I think I have an underlying sense of positivity. I mean, I think in the current state of what's going on, one must.
Yes. That's an applause line. Yes. So we mentioned the Beatles song, and we have to talk about you and Ringo. Are you going out with Ringo this year?
I'm going out with Ringo this year, yes. I'm also playing in a band with him.
Wow, we're so happy for you. Tell us what it's like to play with Ringo Starr. You play with him, this will be your fourth tour? Or fifth?
No, it's about
Third?
Ninth? Done about 6 or 7.
Yeah. What is it like for you who grew up
Well,
with
the novelty
Beatles?
never wears off because it's Ringo. He was in the Beatles. And sometimes I think about that, and I mean, I haven't done a lot of tripping in my time. I've dropped, acid a few times in my life, not very much, but often enough where I think when I'm playing on stage with Ringo, I think to myself suddenly, fuck, am I just tripping? So I have to turn around and check and make sure he's there. So I turn around. And he always seems to know what I'm thinking. Because he's always looking at me going, I know. It's Ringo. I was in the Beatles.
And I have to, he does these great reviews. So it's you and John Waite and I guess Billy Squire sometimes. And
Well, it's been the same band for a long time. It was Edgar Winter, but Edgar's not doing it at the moment. And so now it's Steve Lukather from Toto, who's. I mean, that's the other thing, that is amazing about playing with Ringo is that I get to play on stage every night with somebody who I think is just the most astonishing guitar player, and he plays different things every night, and it's mesmerizing, So I get to do that. So Steve's in the band, Hamish Stewart from the Average White Band, who's another Scottish guy from Glasgow. And myself and Greg Bissonette on drums and Ringo and Warren Ham who plays saxophone and keyboards and a guy called Buck Johnson who has replaced Edgar because Edgar can't do it at the moment, and he sings with Aerosmith and other bands as well. But so it's been the same band since about 2018. He likes this band, Ringo, which is I'm happy about. I mean, it's Ringo, so it's like, yes, sir. What time do you want me there, sir?
yeah. What is he like as a boss? What is it like?
Oh, he's lovely.
Rehearsing with him and.
Well, he doesn't like rehearsing that much, We rehearse for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And he starts off the rehearsal by saying, I know, but it's got to be done. Let's play these songs. So we play the songs, and we all say hello, and we rehearse for a couple of days, and it's amazing because he's 84 years old, and he'll be 85 this year, and he still runs on stage and sings the songs, plays drums, and does jumping jacks at the end. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mind you, he only eats a bit of broccoli now and again, so he's a very healthy guy. But very inspirational, and very funny. He's very, very funny. Sometimes he comes into my dressing room and says, tell us a story. I go, me tell you a story? You're Ringo, you've got all the stories. He goes, yeah, but I know all my stories. I did this album, covers album during the pandemic called I just don't know what to do with myself. And I had my first vinyl copy of it when I was standing in Ringo's driveway. We were taking pictures for the tour. And Steve was there, Steve Lukather was there. I said, here's my record. And he goes, oh, that's cool, man, yeah, great. He's looking at it, and Ringo comes over and he goes, what you got there? I said, oh, it's my new covers record. He goes, give us a look. So he grabbed it, and he's looking at it, and he goes, oh, you're doing that song? Yeah, love that song, man, yeah, that's great. Yeah, you're doing that one? Yeah, great, man. Doing a couple of our songs? Really cool, man, yeah, great. I said, do you want to have that record? He goes, not really.
I want to just toss some sort of random questions at you, just for fun and see.
I hope there's no trickery, though, no trickery.
Well, let me see. I got a couple of tricks here. We'll put those aside.
No, I can't think on my feet.
One of the things that I've noticed about you over the years, and certainly I think we all saw it in your shows here on board, is you're a lucky guy in that you still have your voice after all these years. And they noticed.
Yeah. I am very lucky, yeah.
And obviously nothing that you have to say about it. It just happens or it doesn't. But I know you mentioned...
It doesn't just happen. I mean, it's a combination of things, you know. My father had a great voice. So whatever I have, I got from my father. My mother had a great voice as well. You know, I'm not giving myself a hammering anymore, you know. Because I used to do all kinds of stupid things, you know, and drank too much and smoked, you know, and all that crap you do when you're young. So I haven't done that for about 30 odd years, so that helps. And believe it or not, sleep is good. Getting enough sleep is good for your voice. And warming up, I have a teacher, so I have a vocal coach, and I do a class every week. So, and I practice, not every day, but most days I do some.
You do warm-ups and stuff?
Yeah.
Like what are they?
Maybe for about 45 minutes.
You mentioned that you have to do that before you go on stage.
Yeah.
What are those like? What does a vocal warm-up sound like?
They're all scales of different. I have them on my phone, and I just go through them, different ones with different vowel shapes, and starting off at a point in your voice, which is where it's really easy to sing, like a mid frequencies that are in the middle, not too high, not too low, or pitches rather that are in the middle. And then you expand it up and down. So it's like a muscle. You're just stretching your vocal cords, and it helps a lot. But it's not. Some people don't do it, you know. But there's a great singer in Australia, a guy called Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's from Glasgow as well. And I've known him for a long, long time. And he warms up his voice before he goes on. And it sounds like, you know those old fucking crank cars that you kind of have to crank? He goes, ah, 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 ah. No. Yeah, it's okay right now.
I was wondering why you were pushing the mic back. What's he getting ready to do here?